Syncopation. Syncopation. Syncopa. Syncopata. Syncopata. We love syncopation. And really, syncopation, he defines it one way, which is the cutting short of a normal metric subdivision. Typically, we think of syncopation as accenting an otherwise unaccented beat or part of a measure or part of a beat. Now, I don't know about you, but I live and breathe syncopation, so much so that syncopation doesn't even sound syncopated. It sounds normal. If you listen to any Latin music or any funk music or any kind of music that's probably saturating your ears in this very moment, it is loaded with syncopation. So to that end, it kind of can be a little bit hard to pick out because you're just used to hearing it. Anyway, here's Karpinski's idea, and I'm going to give you my own idea of how to hear it and notate it. Okay, so his example is this: "Who's that yonder? Do 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 do." So here's our syncopation right here. Here's the syncopation. Do do do. One and two and. Right? One and. We don't even know where to say the numbers, which is part of why I have you conducting and saying things and clapping and saying the beats, right? So if I were going to tap it and count the beats, it would be 1, 2, 1, right? 1, 2, 1. Okay? Notice that there's this eighth and then a tied eighth, which down here, right? He's writing as an eighth and a quarter and an eighth. So literally we cut a beat up, which is kind of a funny way to think about it. Now, he gives you these two strategies. Strategy A, I do not like strategy A. I do not like it. Sam, I am. Strategy A must be put in a can. Okay, strategy B, I like a little better. And it's a little bit more related to the sort of the modern approach to rhythm that I would like to advocate for. Okay, so do 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 do, right? Here's a syncopated melody. Do 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 do. So when I was teaching in the elementary schools, we would just call this syncopata. Forgetting Takadimi for a second. Syncopa, 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 one and, right? Syncopa is a way to learn to hear that as a pattern. Now, what he's saying to do is articulate the beat that the syncopated note skips. So let's say, again, this is going back to my elementary teaching. Just for a minute, okay? You're walking, right? If you can step the beat, I'm going to step with these fingers, and I'm going to tap with this, right? 1, 2, syncopa, syncopa, 1 and 2, right? So if you can articulate the beat where there's no sound, right? 1, 2. That is cool. Now, these are your feet, and this is your clapping if you're 9. Or even if you're 19. Or even if you're 18. I don't care how old you are. It's still fun to do. You can even do it with your fingers like this. Here's a person walking along, and here's a person clapping. Okay, now you can see I'm channeling my my elementary ed times. So you perceive this downbeat. Now, he's saying you can take it and go 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and, right? So he's saying go put it together, like make this note not that long. Make it not that long. Sort of break that up, which is fine, and then soften the articulation. Okay, so where you were going do 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 do, now you're gonna go do 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 like that. Okay, and then take out the articulation of the syncopated beat. That's all cool. And now let's bring it up a level to the modern world. The modern world of making music that's syncopated all over the place. Here I go. Watch me write syncopation. I once had a student who was like a fourth grader. He called it syncopathon. Syncopathon. Yeah, syncopation. Now, I think the key to really getting into the performing syncopated rhythms and just eating them for lunch, which is what, as a jazz saxophonist, I do, just eat this stuff for lunch, is to always be thinking of the subdivision. So let's say our subdivision is eighth notes. That's our subdivision. We could even think of it this way. So that your subdivision is always whatever the smallest subdivision that you're going to encounter in a certain situation is. So here my subdivision is eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So now I can tie these together and make any kind of rhythm I want. Here's my syncopa. So da da. Maybe I want to go backbeats there. Ba 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 ba. All right, I'll make that whatever it is. Oh, I'll hook it up there like that. Okay. Right? Okay, so now I've tied those together. Now I'm thinking subdivision. Now I'm just going to re-notate it. I'll give you the note heads. Okay. Now here, I'm observing the invisible bar line. So I'm not turning those eighth notes into a quarter, because I still want to see the third beat of the measure. Give these guys a beam. These guys go together. That's a quarter note tied to an eighth note, again observing the invisible bar line. And now here's my rhythm. Ba 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 ba. Right? So I hear that and I think ba ba ba, or I might think here's my little walking around person. I'm going to point and walk around. Whoops. There we go. Ba 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 ba. Or 1 and E and oops, 1 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and. Lots of ands. Okay? So now let's say the syncopation exists down within the 16th note level. I'll just do this quickly because it's sort of ahead of the topic that we're shooting for. I'm coming up on 8 minutes now. Don't want to take too long, dude. Okay? So, but this is, if you want to get funky, you got to know how to syncopate. So, here's like, let's do a measure of syncopated 16th notes. So now I'm thinking 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1. Right? Let's say I want a rhythm that's going to go. Let's do that one, right? So I'm thinking, and I might even think just accents, just because I'm doing all the different mouth parts. Right? There we go. Getting a little sticky. So now I can take that. Let's say I just want to make that. I'm still subdividing. But now I'm taking that and I'm going to convert that to groupings or longer notes. And now I'm going to beam with the beat. Okay, so here, these 3 16th notes become this dotted eighth. These 2 16th notes, or these 3 16th notes, become a 16th tied to an eighth. These 2 16th notes become this eighth. These 3 16th notes, become that dotted eighth, and so on. Same thing twice. Okay, so the main thing is, what's the rule? What's the concept? Nope. Subdivide. And you'll be able to syncopate your way through your rainy Monday.